Hello everybody. I'm glad to receive you here for this small performance. I would like to establish a little theater situation. I know it's a bit strange in this space, but you will know afterwards why, because I will present a film here and it's important that you can read text. So please organize yourself that you have a good sight onto this kind of screen, please. I will need that space actually. Perfect. And you see the projector is right here. Wow, yeah, we can sit here. So I will play cello here, so I have no problem if you sit here, but maybe it's a bit too loud. Yeah? I try without, okay. But maybe it's just let it here, so in case I can use it. Okay. Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah, I will present you a little excerpt of a work I'm doing right now. I will have premiere in April in Berlin with it. It will be a whole piece. And here I show you just some excerpts about this work called We a Solo, and it's about collectivism, individualism, and what maybe goes beyond. And yeah, first thing I would like to say to you is in this small moment that we have together, I will give you some orders. And please follow these orders. Yes? But just in your imagination. As brain research tells us, an imagined action is as real as a performed action. So maybe we can try that out. Please look at your neighbor. No, just in your imagination. Okay, okay, again, failed. Look at your neighbor, please. And smile at him or her. Fantastic. You're really great. Okay, good. The first thing I wanted to do when I came here, or what I was thinking about, was to build a choir with you. So I thought it would be really great to build a choir, and then I thought it through a bit, and then I realized that it's totally impossible because we are already a choir. Like, you are already singing now. And me too, actually. And the columns are singing too. Yes, and the floor has some kind of beat, and the chairs, and it's just a question of listening to it. It's very easy. And so that's my problem, because I wanted to be a conductor, and this is not possible now. But still, I thought, okay, good. In a big sense, it's maybe not possible, but in a very small sense, it would be very easy. So please stand up and come with me to this side, everybody. Okay. Yeah, just like that. Okay, yeah, a bit more like this. Okay, fantastic, yes. Okay, that's really great. Okay, somebody's missing. Okay, we wait. Okay. Now, please, make a little sound like No, just in your imagination, it's totally wrong. Yes. Just we listen to it. Yeah, we hear it. Okay. Okay, that sounds great. Okay, and now please, the men hold the bass, and the women go above it, like together. 1, 2, 3. Hey, that's really, we have to stick together. Okay, and now we add it. The bass, the men that have the bass, they start. Then the women, and then some men with the falsetto, yes, and then sopranos. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we can work with it, but I think it will be Celesto. Then now it stays a bit. Please stay in it a bit. Yes. Okay. And now we add some dirt, like very ugly voice. Please, from you maybe. You look great, but please. Okay. Yes, that's fine. And so it's like a machine, maybe machine gun. Okay, great. Okay. Okay. And now somebody like an animal, maybe like a tiger. You maybe. Yes. Okay, so, wow. Okay, and stop. So I would like to develop this. I would like to get the ability that if we are together, there is place for everyone. So also for the people that don't want to be with us, they're also welcome. If somebody is mute, has no voice, we have also a place for him or her. So everything is sounding in our choir, right? So now I beg you to just think of a sound, and when I say, and when I give the sign, you stick on that sound, okay? 1, 2, 3. Okay, hold that, please. Hold this, yeah? Just hold it. Just hold it. great stereo sound system that we have borrowed from the Königliche Theater starts, a big thunder. Then another light system, also from the Königliche Theater, makes a flash. And the third thing we borrowed from the Königliche Theater is a rain machine. So it starts to work. The space starts to be flooded. I start to be wet. And you too. Okay, this was the first part of a personal legend. And now 3 group situations. I have heard from groups that are walking through a forest. A chief, together with the group, owned in the forest for months, and sometimes for years. And often, in that time, they don't meet any other groups, any other people, for months and for years. But they never forget that they are not the only group. Okay, another group situation. I have heard from groups, there is a chief and the group, and the chief can just stay in power because he is able to give all the time. So his group members don't do anything for food, for life, for building huts, whatever, and he has to do all that, and this is what keeps him in power. But how can he do that? And what does he get for that? He is the only one in the whole group that is allowed to have several sexual partners. And together with these sexual partners, he manages everything for the others. So he goes hunting, they build the houses, they give food, they make nice instruments, whatever, and the rest of the group members are totally lazy. And the strange thing about it is you always find something that wants to be the chief. Somebody. You always find somebody that wants to be the chief. Yeah, and another group situation, I heard of a very good method to break the will of a group. And this is just to change the architectural way they live. Like, for example, there is a group, maybe, okay, half of you maybe stand up. Yes, great, come here. Okay, okay, go in a line. So we have a circle. Okay, no, a line. Okay, a circle. Okay, so half of you is here, half of you is here. So imagine you are a village, and you live together for years and years, and what you do all is, if you want to marry somebody, you have to look for this person in that part of the village, okay? So you are not allowed to marry in your group, okay? And so the men have to cross the village and look for a woman and live there for the rest of their life. This is not changeable. Another thing is, if somebody dies in your part of the group, this part of the group has to revenge this death. So they go hunting a tiger and they have a fur and make a dance with it. And then the death is revenged. So this is always the same thing. So if somebody from here wants to marry, he looks for somebody of you. And if somebody here dies, you care for the dead person. Okay? So imagine, if I would transport you and build another village for you, where all the streets are in line. Yeah? All the houses like that. You don't know who to marry, and you don't know what to do if somebody dies. Second part. I join you. So now please, applause.
To get an insight into your work, into your research of this. So, thanks a lot. Any questions or comments? Otherwise, I have my wife ready.
In my introduction to you, I was maybe a bit muddy. Maybe you would like to explain again what you wanted to try out tonight and what you were hoping to. No?
I don't know. Maybe you. I think this is for the audience to answer. Maybe.
Yes.
I agree with that. I thought it was lovely to be challenged on my imagination, my intentional movement, or intentions, my intention of actions, or whatever you call it. Yeah, it was just a very brief impression. That I wasn't supposed to act, but and of course this thing about which group am I in.
I must say, I was that lucky that I was allowed to read at least some of your thoughts about this performance. But I thought it was also quite clear in the performance. Can I say a few words about that?
Yes, of course.
Okay. As I understood your paper, may I dare to call it that?
Yeah.
Yes. This is about we live in a time which is past that you cannot speak about just to be an individual or be a collective. But Andreas is trying to find something that is both collective and individual at the same time. Can you do some action that is individual and collective at the same time? We of course see it around the world. Capitalism is dead, communism is dead. Can we find something that is both at the same time and can do some good for the society? So what you're doing here, if I understand it correctly, it's some kind of research into that field of finding something that is not split up into that dualism between the ish and the me and the collective. So you're trying to find something in between, or is examining that.
Yeah.
And for me, that was very, very clear in the moment where you try to make us as a group move, but we only move as individuals in our heads. That was really a very, very nice picture of that. So I totally got it through that. But my question would rather be for you, how much research is in that field do you get out of being in this performance situation of performing here tonight? Did you learn something more about this schism of collectivism and individualism through performing here tonight?
You want to know what is the other material? Or
No, more. Did it bring you further into your research into this field about collectivism and individualism to perform here tonight?
I think it's really the thing. I think my theater practice and the theme matches very much together. I did a lot of interactive performances, actually, real interactive performances, like talking with people and making people do something for me or with me, and then suddenly, actually, it was not so long time ago, I saw a theater performance where the people had to dance and to do a lot of stuff, and I think somehow all these kind of theater performances are researching in that field. Like they try to, how can we be together? How can we go over this? Also in the theater, there is the artist and there is the audience. How can we mix it? And then I just saw, okay, that's done actually. The thing that I mix with the audience in this way, for me, it's somehow done in a moment. And then somehow I got to the point that I would like to make this in the imagination, and and it comes together with a thought. I mean, of course, it's just a small excerpt here of what of what will be at the end, but I think the approach to make the people imagine things. This was a good opportunity to do it here, because in a normal theater space, the people are more or less organized well in a space, like totally clear, and it's for me it was quite a challenge to make that here. So to work with that, and just one thing with, I mean, it's a very common book about how a nation is built is Imagine Communities by Anderson, and some know it maybe. And the invention of nation, it's called, and he says that all the communities or all the nations are built by imagination actually, by saying we belong together, and if we say it as much until everybody believes it, we are a nation. And somehow for me it refers to this, the idea of guiding the imagination of the audience with me. It refers to that principle. Yeah.
Yes, please.
I have a comment that will lead into a question eventually. I'm just referring to the whole raft story that you were, I wouldn't say telling, but performing. I think it was really powerful the way that you used the music to set the setting for our imagination to play out. And then the words that were written on the screen somehow actually emerged into something more powerful than photos would do of a similar scene, or you telling the story itself. I couldn't help myself thinking of the movie Inception, where you plant a thought in somebody's head. And it kind of felt like that, because personally I was in a really jolly mood before you started. And I'm not saying in a negative way that you changed that, but I really didn't feel like going into that universe before you started the whole act. But it was as if the words printed so fast kind of forced me into feeling what you were writing on the screen. And actually it took me just in the same situation as you were describing. So do you realize that you actually have the power to force a feeling into people when showing it this way, in a very strong way? What are your thoughts on that? That's a great question.
I would like to answer it, but no, I can tell you that it happens sometimes, that it really works, what I'm fixing together, but yeah, I think it's I don't know. Yeah, but I was happy that it worked. Actually, I was not sure about it here in that a bit fuzzy.
Did it work for everybody?
I thought it was very clever at the beginning, because I had such a kind of out-of-body experience, because you were standing there speaking to us, and we were sitting here looking at you speaking to us, because we are all over there. And then after kind of, once you're a little bit out of this, also when the story was running about the raft, I was thinking it was kind of, you became more active in the story, because you have to read it and follow what happened. And then after, I kind of got so much into the story, and then when it kind of twisted again, that you are just kind of looking at it in the field, so it was, for me, it was quite powerful what you made, because it was also done with a lot of humor, because it's this sometimes what I don't like in performance, or what becomes awkward in performance or in any kind of situation in group, is when people want the audience to participate, and some are very eager to participate and some are really shy, and they always say, okay, now like we make this sound. If you have to make it for real, it's always like, oh shit, we have to make it, and you hear you have a false, you are not singing good, like, and you become aware of who is good and who is who would feel awkward in this situation. But here was beautiful because you don't know if you imagine what's happening, but you feel like you are together in it and everybody can make it right. And I like it that it didn't become awkward because we just imagined we are doing it, so it became very easy and funny in the same time. With kind of humor you can also start, like then people can immediately go with you because it's kind of the trick that makes people willing to make it, I think.
I have a question. What about these 3 group situations I told you about? Is that what did it with you? Do you remember it, or or is it away already? Or
but I think like the group where the leader gives all the time. I think that's a good analogy to the performance situation.
Yeah.
This is also what I think is I think this is what you're dealing with, but this is generally interesting. It's again this sort of the change between the theatre and the performance art environment. And I would argue that in the performance art environment, although it might be still on the model where you say that the leader gives everything and has to satisfy the whole community, or usually gets sacrificed in those more traditional societies. I think that is a good analogy to the performance art space, because I think that for me the difference in a performance art environment is you are sort of part of a community. You are sort of in the same space, in the same psychological and conceptual space as a performer. Even though the performer is still doing all the work, you are sharing a space and essentially sharing a community. And I would still argue that that's the big difference between theatre, where you're sharing, it's a very constructed consumption of the performer. There is a psychological and conceptual barrier between the audience and performer. So then it never actually becomes a real community. You can have a very intense experience as the audience, but it never becomes a community. But anyway, so that's
Yeah, I actually think that it was quite liberating that it did play with some of the theatrical things that I know from theatre background as well, because even though it's definitely situated in a performance context, the whole idea about liberating the imagination from the beginning sets the group experience very free, in a way. In the way that, for instance, if you want to do interactive theatre, as you also said, what we have always been doing, then you can, and first I thought, but now you don't know whether we actually followed you or not, we can just be doing something else. But I mean, you could always be doing something else, even though you were walking over to that wall, you could just be thinking, he's a really stupid asshole, I really don't want to participate in this, I'm going now, am I not going, am I going? So in this way it was a big freedom that you could just imagine or not imagine, and in that way I think you actually entered the piece much more. But I don't think that it doesn't have or bear theatrical things by that, because for instance that was also the reason that you could then enter the story. I mean, the story really had some, and I also found that quite liberating, that you could actually imagine with you, that it didn't have to be very distanced or ironic, but that it could be with humor. And because I was already put into this imaginative mood, I could just float with the also emotional layers of the written story that you had. And I didn't have to, because it was all something that had already been put into the imagination, I didn't have to pretend that I was more ironic or distanced or whatever, you know? Like, do you understand?
Yeah.
So there's no question. It was more a kind of comment on that I felt it was very liberating, very free, and definitely not like positioning something like performance art or theatre, but much more mixing it actually, what you can use from the different things in order to set the group free in a way, as a collective with individuals. Yeah.
I just would like to answer your question about the 3 groups you were parting us in. When you did it over here, you were, oh yeah, just take your time for one person who didn't come or something. Yeah. Maybe that 3
for me at least, this where there were 3 groups, it was a little bit too quick.
Too quick?
Yeah, I had a hard time following it and imagining each of these groups. That little detail was very important.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a weird question. Why are you half naked?
Because actually this is a reference to the boys on the raft.
Okay, yeah.
For me.
For you, yeah.
And is that also the hair? Because yesterday when I saw you had a lot more hair.
Yes. No, this is because my girlfriend hates it when I have long hair.
That's got, the haircut's got nothing to do with the performance whatsoever.
I also have another thing I was thinking about, because you start kind of the whole. I don't know which order this is in the whole piece, because I haven't seen it, so I'm just gonna, think about it as I saw it right now. But you start off with us imagining us making music, and then you go to actually playing music, and this was kind of a clash for me, because you put me in a state of mind that I should imagine the music, and then you actually do it live, and I don't have a comment like that was good or that was bad. It was just kind of an observation I did of the choice you made, and of course that you also are like a half-naked boy with like sports shorts. It's also like communicating something I'm not sure how to respond to, because I think it's an obvious choice you made. It's nothing you just put on. You have been thinking about these things, and I can see that it's choices you have made very clearly. It's not a coincidence.
But it's not for you. It's not clear what it really is for you, or what it does for you.
No, not. I think I have to kind of see your whole piece if I'm gonna be. But I can understand this, and I kind of love this idea you're into, that you kind of play with people's minds in a way, because you can make us do things, and I feel foolish, like when you say, look at your neighbor, I'm like a stupid girl, like yes I am, like you can tell me anything and I will do it because I'm playing your game. And this is a very powerful thing as an actor or a performer. You can kind of manipulate the audience to do maybe sometimes crazy things, but also beautiful things. And I'm just like thinking about how you can in this elaborate. I'm not sure if you're done with the piece or if you're still in. No, you're not done.
4 more weeks.
You're 4 months, yes, and kind of what your kind of like like your goal with it. If you want the audience to feel like they've been manipulated, or that you want them to feel like they have been into an imaginary journey without. Do you understand my question? It's or do you want to jump from different types of individual and collective? My question is not really clear, but
actually, in the moment, I'm not totally clear with the point of the piece, like where it really is landing. But somehow I have the feeling that I would like the audience, 2 different things. One thing is that at the end of the piece, maybe the audience thinks, I have done so many things without doing. And I had collective experiences without, so this, I would like to have that. Several collective experiences, and also I would like to go to a point where actually a bit more than today, where myself I don't know where it is leading to. Like I mean, these 3 group examples, for example, are ethnographical groups that I have read by Lévi-Strauss. Like it's a 50 years old book or 30 years old, I don't know. So. And I would like to go a bit more like in our present also, and also in that strange movement that is now everywhere, like with new technologies, which is not understood. And somehow I would like to go a bit in that, in this kind of stories, who could be stories, but maybe are totally open stories, because it's not like that. There is no end of that story. Like here is an end, but yeah, I think this is what I'm very much interested in. Is that a bit of somehow contribution to your?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was thinking about what you're wearing as well, but in a way it kind of made me think of those kind of dreams where you wake up and think you're naked in front of an audience, and that made me sympathize a bit more with you, I guess. You know, like that idea of if you're standing naked in front of a group of people, then I don't know. Yeah, I guess my response to what you're wearing is that I sympathize with you a bit, and maybe that makes me willing to engage a bit more with what you're trying to make me do, if that makes sense.
You think you're glad that I'm not totally naked, or?
By all means, you could be naked. No, I mean, I guess it's definitely an image. You being in boxers is something that really makes you think, why is he in boxers? You know, because there's nothing else there. You don't have you don't have a set design or anything that will bring you into the story. It's just what you're wearing that reflects on the text, really. And the other thing, because I agree with the setting up your imagination, and then you're able to continue imagining what's written. It's almost like a silent movie in a way. But I felt that there was too long of a beat between me keeping the note in my head and you playing the note in a way. You had a moment where you went behind the curtain, and I wasn't sure what you were doing there. If you deliberately have put in that beat to make the next part, or whether
that I didn't stop tone from the chorus.
You kind of went from there, and then you picked up I think you set this up, and then you picked up the cello and you went behind the curtain, and there was a beat behind the curtain. There was a break.
Okay.
It felt like I lost the tone.
Okay.
And then you came back, and it started.
That's
I don't know
totally
if you,
interesting.
Did you think of, did you purposely make a break? Like, what were you doing behind that curtain?
Actually, it just happened, but it's good that you mention it, because it tells me that really every decision is extremely important when I start to work like that. I cannot just go behind the curtain without thinking of it. For me, it was a bit a silly theatrical thing to go behind the curtain in a situation like this. It was just.
You can try it out.
Yes.
I like how you joined us for the third part, and how you sort of decided that you were going to join us for that. If you're playing with this individual and group thing, I think that was an interesting thing.
It's better than leaving.
Yeah.
Well, I've also seen in another performer doing sort of a similar sort of imagined performance where they actually say, and now I'm going behind the curtain, and now you can't see me, and now I'm going to have a drink of water, and just, and now you can see me again, and so this is also a conceptual possibility. You don't have to go behind the curtain, you just tell us you went.
Yeah, it's true, it's true. Fantastic.
Yeah. And I think the last thing I want to say is I actually hope you do get sponsored by the Könige Theater and get the waterfall and all of these things. But I think when that bit came, I was ready for it. Like, I was kind of in this, I don't know, grand, it could have been like grand Pina Bausch kind of thing, where you're just imagining all these things. But I think it would be great if it actually did happen.
What everybody seems to focus on and be interested in is your ability to create images in people's heads. And actually this is an old, very old feature of theater, like in Shakespeare, all the stage set was essentially in the words and in people's heads. And now you intended to Yeah, there was a question also what it was meant to do. I mean, what exactly you wanted to do? Would it just create a nice image in people's heads, or did you want to manipulate? But I wonder then, isn't this enough? I mean, that's quite a huge subject. So is all this, the theory about the individual and the collective and the politics and all this, is that still relevant to you? And how?
Actually, the work started with this question. This imaginary actions are 2 weeks old. So I didn't know that I will that I will do this. So it was a consequence of the theme. So I think I just go further, and still it is relevant for me because yeah. But I understand that you could make a piece just with that problem, of course. But that was not my intention. When I make decisions of what I'm going to tell, I try to. The criteria is the subject, individual, collectivism thing. You know what I'm going to tell. I could also have, if it's just about imagination. Maybe I would tell other stories or other, you know what I mean?
So there is a bit of manipulation in it.
Huh?
The manipulation part is actually
of course, yeah.
important.
Of course, yeah. But I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, I wondered about this relationship still to the theories, because this ability of creating images in people seems so overwhelmingly important also.
Yeah.
And interesting.
Yeah.
But it's also another feature that interested me was it's clear that you are able to put images in people's heads, but I'm not quite sure how the audience reacts back on you, because you're talking about this mechanism between the collective and the individual, the group and a single person, and how do we know and how people react back on you?
What do you mean?
I mean, how does the group react on the individual? How do we see that? I mean, we clearly see how an individual can influence the group.
Okay.
But how do we see this other side of the dynamics?
Okay, good question. I have to think about. Yeah, it's a very good question. So I have no answer anymore.
Well, maybe that's what we experience, each of us. I guess I felt like being in a group and you were the leader. So, couldn't that, well, I thought what you were asking was, I was experiencing that. Your question. So, well, the reaction was within my own mind, like little obstructions of, okay, now you go behind and, oh, you're supposed to lead me. Right? Or whatever, these kind of, and then I have to realize whether I want that or not. This kind of. So I thought the group reflection was going on.
Maybe this is also a contradictory thing. I mean, in a moment, I really think if I make theater, I have to say yes to the situation that I lead an evening. It's just, we agreed on that. And yeah, once I have said to my colleague with whom I am rehearsing, I said it would be great at the end to disappear totally in the mass of the spectators. But I think it's not possible. I have no idea how to do it. It would be really great. Yeah, but I think I will stay the one who makes these decisions. Yeah, I don't know.
I would like to go one step, or maybe steps further back, because you said at the beginning that you have been doing interactive theatre. And we have had interactive theatres for the last 10, 15 years. And now the big interactive theatres, Shishi Pop is going to Teatertrappen now, Gobsquad is going to Teatertrappen. It's something that is kind of peaked or has peaked. So understand that urge to go away from doing interactive theater and be more you in control and controlling the collective. But within that movement, away from doing interactive theater, as I understand it, might be appropriate actually to leave that discussion about the collective and to move more over to that about the imagination that you create for the collective. Because I think we have been in that discussion about the individual and collective for many years, working with interactive theater. So maybe this is also a setup for you to go, to really go beyond it. And if I mean to go beyond it, that is not to stay stuck and still use the term. It is to go beyond it and not use it anymore.
I understand.
Be free.
Yeah.
More comments?
Yeah, maybe.
Yes,
I'm just very interested in this erotical part of it. I think it's very erotic to play the cello, and normally you see, I mean, it's an image to see the naked woman with a cello, because the cello's form is like a naked woman, and to be half naked but not sexy and playing the cello. I think it's a very kind of contradictory erotic picture for me. And also this about the boys on the raft. For me it's very homoerotic. This story about the wet boys on the raft. So actually I would rather prefer you to be wet. I mean, I'm not so keen about this outfit, but I think it's this more about the thunder and the rain, and of course we can imagine the thunder, the rain, but actually just be you, but wet.
You think I should be wet?
You really want to take it out? No, I like the naked with the cello thing.
Let's try it at once, I think.
You can get rid of these flower things.
Flower things?
No, that's a bad joke.
I didn't get it.
I don't even know the name.
More? Otherwise, then we should let.
Just a question.
Yes.
I'm thinking of making a little photo studio here now while the evening is going on. So if some groups, because actually I have to admit I have to make a press photo, and I would like to make the press photo without me, and I would like to try out to have a try out to project some words with people here, just like this, and so if some of you would like to join me, I just make the photo studio and we'll make photographs of you. Yeah, of course, it's everybody that doesn't want to do it, it's great also.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much.